Okay, everybody, I think we are live. So, welcome to our newest edition of We Meet. We have three guests today. One is still trying to get in from California, Billy B. Young. We have Martyn Ford. Hello, Martyn. And we have Fletcher Holloway from Australia. Hey, guys.
Hey.
So, let's start with you, Martyn, okay? Is that all right with you?
Me. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, Martyn Ford is an absolute legend, as I wrote in the advertisement. We have to just look at this here because it's crazy. Martyn, you work with the Stones, Elton John, Paul McCartney, Phil Collins, Brian Ferry, Richard Cliff, The Who, Lou Reed, Bob Marley, Mark Boyle, and Kate Bush, Led Zeppelin, Toto, and on and on and on and on and on. So you are an absolute legend. And it is a leggy legend. And it's an absolute pleasure to have you here as well as on the label. So give us, please, a bit of an update. What are you busy with lately? What have you been up to?
Well, I've just got back from Prague, where I did a 5-hour recording session, conducting for 5 hours, which is a bit of a long stint, for our mutual friend and colleague, Robert Moss, who also lives in Sydney. He's a composer. We're doing the second album of a 2-album project called Desire and Attachment. And Robert, I think, has just gone over to Hong Kong to record the vocals with Fifi Wong, who is our sort of English stroke Chinese Mandarin speaking singer who did an amazing job on the last album. So I'm sure this one's going to be equally stunning. So that's the project I'm in the middle of at the moment. I'm also in the process of remastering my second album so that hopefully, Helmut, you and I are going to get together and get that released over the next, well, we probably won't release the whole album because some of it's crap. But 4 or 5 of the tracks are really strong. One of them was a mini hit for me in the UK. So I think it would be good to get that out there. Apart from that, I'm not doing much, just getting old. How I had time to do all that stuff that you just rattled off of what I did in many moons ago. Yeah, I've been lucky. I had a great career and still do have, really. I'm very lucky that I'm still working. The phone still rings occasionally.
So yeah, you want to tell everybody a little bit about the time back then, how you were the go-to guy in London, basically, for anything orchestral, right?
Yeah, so yes, I was. I monopolized the recording business for 20, 30 years as far as orchestras are concerned. I was very lucky. When I was a student at the Royal Academy of Music, I formed my own orchestra, made up of all the sort of hand-picked best students at the London music colleges at the time. And I put on a one-off concert at the Royal Albert Hall with a sort of guy that I'd met who wanted to become a conductor. This is before I had aspirations to becoming a conductor. So we put on the concert and the orchestra was amazing. There were very few people turned up, but we got good reviews and the orchestra was fab. And it just happened that one of the members of the orchestra was a friend of the music director and conductor of the group called Bartley James Harvest, who just recorded an album with an orchestra at Abbey Road, and they were going on the road and they wanted to take an orchestra with them. So my friend Robin said to Robert, their MD, you should get in touch with Martyn Ford. He's got this amazing young orchestra who kind of, they get rock and pop, and they would do it. And they did get in touch, and we went on, and we did indeed go on the road with Bartley James Harvest. Probably worked with them for 3 or 4 years. And then I'm just being in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people. I met a couple of record producers and I met a DJ who introduced me to some people, and it just blossomed from there. I mean, Dave Cash was a disc jockey who lived upstairs from me in a flat that I just rented in London. And he introduced me to Johnny Nash's manager, who said, can you do arrangements? And I said, yes, of course I can, never having done an arrangement before in my life. And they played me the demo of I Can See Clearly Now and said they wanted a the middle eight
arrangement.
section. Yeah, they wanted an arrangement. The middle eight section, they wanted a synthesizer on it, and I arranged it. And in those days, synthesizers were monophonic. You could only play one note at a time. So
Right.
we had to build up all the chords and the layers and everything. It took a day bouncing tracks on probably, I can't remember, it probably only had an 8-track machine back then, early 70s, and good old analog 2-inch reel tape. And yeah, I can see it clearly now as my first hit record. I was pretty lucky, really. And then the orchestra just took off. You know, everybody wanted to use the orchestra. So I had people like Toto flew in from America, Art Garfunkel flew in from America. And I worked with the Stones and McCartney and Brian Ferry and Phil Collins, Elton John. They all wanted to use my orchestra, and I was very lucky. So lots of other arrangers. I did some of these arrangements, but other arrangers like Paul Buckmaster, of course, probably the most famous one. He ended up using my orchestra for a lot of Elton John stuff. So it just kind of blossomed. I was in the right place at the right time with a wonderful product. So I got lucky, and a lot of my colleagues, you know, who are students with me at the academy, went on to do great things. You know, my leader left my orchestra to become leader of the London Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, wow.
Which was, you know, how dare he?
Yeah.
And then he became leader of the Academy of St Martin's in the Fields, which is probably the most famous chamber orchestra in the world. And there'd be dozens of other people like that I could quote to you who went on to play with our major symphony orchestra. Bruce Dukoff led my orchestra for a while. He went back over to LA. He's an American guy. He now leads all the top Hollywood film sessions. I just knew who the good players were, and I handpicked them, and I got it right. And I helped a lot of people kind of kick-started their careers, which was very satisfying.
For sure. And you had in your last album, the last album that we put out of you, which is amazing. Great. I mean, I'm a Man, your version of I'm a Man is just fantastic. You also had Simon Phillips on the drums, right?
Yeah, Simon and I go back a long way. I first met Simon when I was playing in the pit of the original London West End production of Jesus Christ Superstar. And Simon was playing drums in the kit, full-time professional West End gig. He was 16 years old. And then I worked with him. He obviously had a fantastic career in the recording business, in the session business in London. He joined several groups, and then he went to the States, and we lost him. But he was the best drummer then, and in my opinion, he's still the best drummer in the world. And I'm still in touch with him. I saw him about 2 months ago. He flew over to do a charity gig for Mo Foster's widow. Mo died about 3 months ago. He was one of our top session bassists, who, by the way, I got to go on tour with Phil Collins, so he was pretty happy about that. And so Simon came over to do that, which was very cool. So I'll shut up now. Hi, Billy.
He doesn't have his sound going yet, Billy. We can't hear you. You need to get your sound going. Audio. We can't hear you yet. There you go.
How's that?
Hey, we got you now.
Finally. I had to get my iPad.
Oh, you made it. Thank you. It's so cool. Let me introduce you, Billy. This is Martyn Ford from England.
Hi, Billy.
Hey, Martin. How are you?
I'm good.
How you doing?
Fletcher Holloway from Sidney, Australia.
Hey, Fletcher. How are you?
Hey, man. Good, man.
Awesome. Martyn has just been telling about his illustrious career and who he's been working with, which is the who of the rock pop world, as a director and composer and arranger. So I think you guys probably would have a lot to talk to each other about at some point. So Martyn, what's the album that you're working on that we're re-releasing, basically, that we're mastering now? What's that? How did that come together?
Some of the arrangements that I did were for a rock band called Nazareth, and another rock band called the Sensational Alex Harvey Band. They're all very big in the 70s. and I was doing arrangements for them. And then the record label, Mountain Records, they called me up and said, come into the office. So I came in and they said, would you like an album deal to make records under your own name? So, you know, I was just a backroom boy conducting orchestras and writing arrangements. So it was very exciting for me to get offered a record deal. And so I made a couple of albums. I mean, it didn't come to much, but we had a mini hit off one of them, but it kind of, it was exciting to do. And I worked with some of the best session musicians in London at the time, like Simon Phillips, you know.
Yeah.
And it opened a few doors, and it got a few plays on the radio, and and the stuff's still there. I mean, you've already re-released one of my albums, the first album, and the second album we'll release some of the tracks soon, and I'm hoping to get them remastered over the next few weeks.
Yeah, cool.
That's the plan. So yeah, that's it really. And the stuff that I made still gets played on the radio, so I'm very happy about that. So
absolutely, it's definitely playing on my radio station, on our radio station. So
it keeps me alive.
Yeah,
you know, the record.
Can you tell everybody quickly also about the Bible album, the Elixir, because that's going to be released soon as well.
Well, it was a very long story, and I haven't got time for that. But I was approached by a fairly dodgy French producer who had discovered these bunch of Americans who were basically busking in France, and they would belong to a sort of Christian group of people, and they'd written all these songs. They'd written about 500 songs, all of which were based on the biblical story, both Old Testament and New Testament. And this producer wanted to record a double album, and he approached Paul Buckmaster and myself if we would arrange and produce it. So we did. So it was a double album, 30 tracks. Some of it, I mean, it was done a long time ago. We're talking 70s. But you play some of the tracks now and they still sound very fresh and amazing. Some of them obviously sound a bit dated, but some of the tracks sound great. And I'm hoping that we're going to, now that we're re-releasing it and remastering it, we're trying to get a publishing deal and we think it would make a great musical theatre number. Great show for the musical theatre or a movie. So because it's a bit like Jesus Christ Superstar, only some of the material better, which sounds very arrogant, but it is. A bit like Godspell, I suppose, a bit like Hair. You know, it's like that, but the material is fantastic. They're wonderful songs and great singers. Of course, we'd have to use different singers now because these guys are all my kind of age, but we could resurrect it as a musical theatre, and I've got contacts in LA. I'm hoping we're going to bite the bait and maybe try and put it on. We'll see.
Put it on stage.
It deserves to be heard. It was one of those projects that we put our life and soul and blood into it for 6 months. And the project is so good, but for all sorts of political reasons, and the record company kind of dropped it, and it never got the exposure it deserved. It's like a lot of music. You know, you hear a lot of stories in the music business. I mean, you know, I could tell you dozens of them, but great records got made, and for whatever reason, they didn't get promoted, they didn't get played, they didn't get heard, the right people didn't get behind it, and they just got lost. And it's a shame. I think some of these things need to be resurrected and deserve to be heard again.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing. And when you sent me that album, I was blown away. It's absolutely amazing, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Well, we have 5 people watching live. By the way, anybody who's watching live, you can type if you have any questions to any of our guests. You can type it into Facebook, and I will relay the questions. Okay. Thank you, Martyn. That was very, very interesting. Shall we go on with you, Fletcher? Fletcher has been with Wolf Entertainment since 2017, something like this. Since then, you had 22 releases. I think 5 or 6 albums and the other single. And we're about to release a new single called Cannon Fodder. So please tell us about Cannon Fodder. What is it about?
Yeah, so when I started writing it, before I started to put anything into recording, I thought, yeah, fuck, I just want to express the way I'm feeling right now, like a dark sort of sense of magic kind of vibe. At the same time, like I've been jamming with a lot of people, a lot of different musicians, through different parties and jam sessions, band practices. And now I'm mainly saying that my music sounds pretty Viking recently. So I thought, fuck it. Why don't I just start to try and do maybe like a pirate or like a Viking kind of vibe. So that's what I did. So I started off with the usual shit, my 12 string, and laid out the chord progression and then started humming along. I got a humming pattern down. And it sort of just went from there, and it just developed into this sort of very cinematic kind of like out at sea on a ship, maybe a Viking, maybe a pirate ship, and yeah, the rest just goes from there.
Okay. And so how's it going for you? You're starting to play live. I mean, first part of you were
Yeah,
just releasing a whole lot of material. So how's it going? Are you putting a band
yeah.
together,
Well,
or where is it sitting?
yeah. Well, actually, yeah. So solo wise, I'm trying to get out there and play my music live. Um, but recently, I've just started a band with some mates that have a studio and just down the road from me, about 40 minutes down the road. And yeah, so we've gotten together and we've been practicing for a while. And we recorded a couple of tracks, about 5 tracks, and they're sounding pretty good. And we've decided to record as many tracks as we can, and then like pick out the ones that we think are the best and discard the ones that aren't as good, to our standard. And once we've got those ones down, then we're just going to practice the ones we've got so far. Learn to learn them off by heart, precisionally, and just so we can play blindfolded, to get us ready to get some live gigs going. I've got a mate. He's our drummer, and he knows. He's in 2 bands at the moment, but he's playing over 200 gigs, every now and then, so he knows how to get us in. Um, yeah, so
I've done the
we've got
Sydney club scene for years. Oh my God.
yeah,
5 gigs a week plus a day job. I know all about the Sydney club scene. It's
shit,
quite something. Yeah.
yeah, no, so yeah, we just got to focus and then practice, and then we'll start doing some live gigs. We're called Night Howler at the moment. It's, uh, it's a side
Okay.
thing we're doing. But yeah, that's how it's
Cool.
going, man. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Oh, hey, Billy, good morning. I know it's early in Los Angeles. It's actually quite an interesting meeting. We're between Los Angeles and then UK, France, Europe, and Sydney, Australia. So we're going literally around the world. So good
Well,
morning, Billy.
I'm really not in Los Angeles. I'm in Northern California. That's like near San Francisco, Oakland, and that area.
Ah, you're up there. Okay. Oh, I thought you're in
Yeah.
LA. Okay.
No. I lived in LA for about 5 or 6 years. I lived
Okay.
in the Hollywood Hills. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Billy is a legend by himself as well. He's played with people like Stevie Wonder, Eddie Murphy, Ramsey Lewis, Earth, Wind and Fire, Pebbles, Snoop Dogg, Boz Skaggs. So we have recorded an album with Eddie Murphy. And so what are you doing at the moment? What are you up to?
Oh, I'm just working on my own stuff, and I was doing a bunch of shows with this band called Gap Experience. They were the spin-off game when I guess they were the kind of band that was keeping the Gap band sound alive. Because there were 3 brothers in the Gap band, and 2 of them died. And Charlie Wilson, he's a solo artist. He's doing pretty well here in the United States. And so we were just doing a bunch of shows ourselves. It was myself and 2 or 3 of the other guys, and we hired a couple of other guys to come and fill in, like a guitar player and different things like that. But I've been doing that and just writing and just playing and just just keeping it alive, man.
Hmm. Well, I met you obviously through Dorian Paul, who you,
Oh yeah, exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
we met through Dorian, and then I asked you to do a track for a German singer whose album I'm producing right now, Katrin Line, and so you
Oh yeah.
recorded the track for us, and then you said, "Hey, I've got all this original material that has never been out there," and I had to listen, and I was like, "What?" So we have now released the first track, and we're
Mhm.
about to release the second track coming out in a couple of weeks or so, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I mean, and I've always played for somebody. I never, you know, embarked on doing something, for myself. Like I said, I had 6 songs on the Earth, Wind, and Fire's Heritage album, and all the albums I did with the Gap Band, and I did a song with me, Charlie Wilson, and Stevie Wonder, and I mean, just so many different things. But I never, thought about doing my own stuff. I was always writing and playing for somebody else. But I think once I hooked up with you, I got the bug. I mean, because Dorian was telling me about you, and Dorian is fantastic, man.
Yeah, yeah.
In 1985, like the Gap Band sold. I mean, in the 80s, the Gap Band sold millions of records. We were touring all over the world and everything. And there was one spin-off band from the Gap Band that was called Billy and Baby Gap. And we were the only spin-off band that we had this our first single was called Rock the Nation, and we were the only spin-off band ever from the Gap Band. And the reason why I think there was only 100,000 copies of that printed up, but then the owner of the label froze the album because we wouldn't sign our publishing over to him.
Okay.
And we had an ultimatum: either you sign this piece of paper, or we're gonna shelve you. I was like, I'm not signing 100% of my publishing over to you. I'm sorry. Even though we were young and we were pretty dumb back then too, but we wasn't that dumb, And then just recently, in the last, I think in March, my other half, Baby Gap, he just suddenly just passed away.
Yeah.
And that was pretty tough. But he would want the beat to keep going on. He's that kind of guy. you know, you but music has been really good. I mean, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity to work with you, Helmut. Because I think we could just get something going, and some Fletcher and your friends over there, man. Eventually we could all get together and just have a really nice time writing a few songs.
Tell you what,
And I'm
go
waiting on that
ahead.
sax part. I'm waiting on that sax part.
I know. I've been. My wife is in hospital and dealing with a whole lot of stuff in the moment. But
Yeah, yeah.
it
Okay,
will come.
okay.
I have to be honest. When I send you the first version and you came back, it's like, oh, okay, sound is good, but you got to do it again. It's like, okay, send you the second version. It's, well, it sounds great, but you got to do it again. So I have to get my shit together now. Tough taskmaster here, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah, right. I know your tone is fantastic, man. Oh, your tone, man.
Yeah, so I got to just get the melody lines correct. But
Yeah, 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 yeah,
it's
yeah.
coming. I haven't forgotten for
Okay,
sure. Yeah, yeah,
okay,
absolutely. And
okay.
then when we have released the next song, what is it called? The next song, please. I have a brain fart here.
Um,
You forgot too. Okay.
no. Thank you for the love.
Thank you for the love. Then after that, we're probably going to do another single and then probably put out an album. That's how I kind of would like to move forward with that.
However you want to roll, I'm good,
Yeah,
man.
I think it would be awesome. But
Yeah.
what you just said is at some point we all get together. That is one of my bucket list dreams, that we're doing a Wolf Entertainment tour, and we're putting a Wolf Entertainment festival together, and we tour that. And with all the talent that we have, we would just put a magic show and bring Martyn with his orchestra and people like yourself, and it would be absolutely wonderful. So
Right.
that's what I want to do before I kick the bucket.
What is that on your hat? That's a wolf logo on your hat?
No, that's a logo of South Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
friend of mine gave it to me as a gift. He's South African.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask? Can I
I'm
ask
sorry.
a question?
Yes.
So, Billy, when were you playing with Earth, Wind and Fire?
Well, in 1990, in 1990, I didn't actually tour with Earth, Wind and Fire. I just wrote songs with Maurice
Oh,
White
okay.
for Earth, Wind and Fire.
With Maurice
And
White.
on that Heritage album, Maurice, this friend of ours from London, he had somehow got a cassette of mine to Maurice White, and then Maurice he used to fly up here to the Bay Area because he lived in Bel Air. He used to fly up here and just hang out with me for 4 or 5 days in a week, and then fly and go back home 3 4 days the next week, and we did that for like 2 or 3 months, and then he said, I think on a CD that he heard, it was like 9 songs, and he said he actually wanted to put all 9 of the songs on that Earth, Wind and Fire album, but CBS would have looked at him like he was being selfish, using just me, and we started laughing, and he actually said that this is the first Earth, Wind and Fire album that somebody's name was on it more than his. Because I had my name on that album I had 6 songs on that album, and that was just a blessing, man. I mean, and it was really sad when Maurice got sick and passed, man. Because he was about to introduce me to this guy named David Foster, and
Oh, I know.
at the time I didn't know who David Foster was, and then when I found out that he did produce so many mega hits, for like Whitney and different people like that, man, I was like, wow. But I mean, life is just taking this course, man. And
Yeah,
it was a lot of.
David's a great guy, lovely guy. I've known him. I know him. I've met him a few times. So, yeah,
Okay.
we go back a long way. But yeah, he's a great guy. He's producing the band that I think is the best group in the world at the moment, called Dirty Loops.
Wait. You don't know nothing about Dirty Loops.
Of course,
This friend of mine I know you do. I know you do. This friend of mine turned me on the Dirty Loops. Man, let me tell you, that is my favorite band of all time.
I think my favorite band of all time is Weather Report, closely followed by Earth, Wind and Fire, and Dirty Loops are definitely up there in the top 3. Dirty Loops are just mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing.
You must be my first cousin or something. I mean, because the same bands you're talking about, I mean, we must eat the same kind of Captain Crunch cereal or something, because those are the same bands that I like.
Well, there we are.
Oh man!
And there's this other guy who I used to live next door to. His name is George Duke.
Oh, I know George. Of course, I know George. He's a keyboard player. He's rather good.
Yeah,
but he passed away recently. George died.
Yeah. I used to. When I lived in Hollywood, in the hills, George Duke used to live next door, and this guy used to live directly across the street from me was named Bob Barker. Bob Barker was on this TV show here called The Price is Right. And we were like this like rock funk band, and having parties at 3-4 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday night and Wednesday morning and stuff like that. So everybody in the neighborhood was like, okay, we know who those guys were. I mean, that was a lot of fun. But it's so funny. He said Dirty Loops. What's the guy's name? Enric and I'm trying to think of these guys' names. The 3 guys' names. The drummer is sick.
Oh yeah.
For Dirty Loops. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's up there with the greatest. He's up there with Simon Phillips, who I think is one of the world's. Well, I think Simon Phillips is the world's greatest drummer, but the guy from Dirty Loops is definitely up there. Yeah, and
Oh my,
the bass player is insane,
insane.
and the lead singer, how he does all that keyboard stuff and sings.
Exactly.
Anyway, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Promoting Dirty Loops when we're supposed to be.
I know. Yeah. Right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
We're supposed to.
That's fine. There's no problem.
It's very cool. The only connection that you and I might have, Billy, is that I mean, I saw Earth, Wind and Fire live at Wembley in London probably 2 or 3 times, and I worked on Phil Collins' first 3 solo albums as an arranger conductor, and Phil used the Phoenix horns. So when Phil was touring over here, I got to meet these guys, Don Myrick and the other players. Don's dead now, but the
real guy.
And so Malcolm Satterthwaite, the trombone player, and I can't remember the names of the trumpet, Michael somebody or other. Anyway, you know who I mean. They were just great guys. I hung out with them in London for a couple of nights, and I have to say that their accent was so thick that I didn't understand a word they were saying. I spent a whole evening with them. I spent a whole evening with these guys, laughing at what I thought were their jokes. I hadn't got a clue what they were saying. And equally, it has to be said, they probably didn't understand a word that I was saying either. So there we are.
Right.
I need a comfort break. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Good. All right. Well, I just have a feedback here from the channel from Don Brown. Don Brown is a friend from California, and he's actually starting to do on our radio station now bi-weekly shows. He does specials on various artists. That I was Wolf and the Tenman, and he said it would be an honor to interview all 3 of these men. So many stories I'd love to hear. Fascinating. So
right.
We're probably gonna hook up with you and make a radio show about you.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah, broadcast on Wolf Entertainment. Now, while Martyn is out, look, unless you want to say anything else, at the end of our little get together, I always like to ask everybody to give a message to your fans, your friends, the world. So why don't you get going, Fletcher?
Yeah, man. Listen for the vibes. Listen for the upbringings, you know, like if you love the charge, you love the fucking vibes, just listen to it, let it take you away, and keep following.
All right, that's your message to the world.
That's it, man.
Love the vibes. Okay, cool.
Love the vibes.
Excellent. And Billy, what do you want to say to your fans, your friends, and to the world?
Well, I just want to tell everybody just to keep their ears pinned to the networks. I mean, because the music is out there, the real music is coming back, and I just appreciate you, Helmut, for introducing me to Fletcher and what's the other guy's name?
Martyn.
And Fletcher and Martyn. I mean. Both of these guys seem like my brothers from another mother, man. I mean, because Fletcher cool as Fletcher cool as a fan. I'm telling you, man. so it'd be wonderful, you know, when I come back over to Europe, to meet these guys, man, and we hang out and just. I don't drink, but I love pizza and I love stuff like that, you know.
Okay, brother. Be good to meet you, man.
Right on, Fletcher, man. Right on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, brother.
I mean, that has really been, for myself, a great experience over the last few weeks since we started doing this, that Wolf Entertainment artists that normally don't actually interact with each other, get to know each other, and we have now some people who are actually doing collaborations out of these meetings. So I love that stuff.
Right, that's cool. That's fantastic, man.
Yeah, man. Martyn, would you give a little word of wisdom to our fans, to your fans, your friends, family, anything you want to say to the world?
Well, I'd like to thank you, Helmut, because you've resurrected some of my work that I did many years ago. That if it wasn't for you, the stuff wouldn't be out there. So having my stuff out there even is a great pleasure and a great privilege. And the fact that people can go onto YouTube and hear my album, which is called Martyn Ford All Stars, which has got the likes of Simon Phillips and Ray Russell and Mike Moran and Pete Robinson and Paul Buckmaster, some of the greatest session musicians London had at the time. It's just so wonderful to have it out there, and also you put me in touch with Robert Moss in Sydney, and we've made an album together, and that's out there, and that's very exciting. I'm hoping that something's going to come of that, which might include a tour and some concerts. It's just keeping the music alive is a great thing, and you should have one of these, Helmut. I just here. How about that, Helmut? Do you like that?
Oh, wow.
Oh, no way.
Oh, that's
Very
cool,
cool.
man.
Very cool.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm a big fan of yours, Helmut, and it's great to meet you guys. It's great to meet Fletch and Billy there. It's such fun. As Helmut says, don't get to interact with other people very much. The only other artist I've met via Helmut is Robert, and so the more the merrier. Let's get
Right.
let's do some gigs, and let's get your dream, Helmut, of putting on a Wolf Entertainment show would be amazing.
We'll do
Amazing,
it.
man.
I'm close. I think we're close. We're like this. And I'm working on the finances, and I want to tour Europe. I want to tour Africa. I want to tour the States and South America. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'm working with a guy also in England, a company that I'm merging with. And we're looking at a 2-year tour of Wolf Entertainment artists around the world. So that's what we're busy with. And I hope I can get it together. I want to get it together.
Yeah, man.
Well, don't hang about, because some of us aren't getting any younger.
Well, I know that.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get a new hip next month first, and once I can walk again, we can start with that.
I've still got my hips and I've still got my knees, and I can still wave my arms around in front of an orchestra. So let's rock.
Yes.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, thanks very much for doing this with us, and I love the connection that was here today. And this meeting is really special. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Good morning to you, Billy. Good night to you, Fletcher.
Okay, Martin.
Go ahead, Billy.
Good afternoon to you, Helmut.
What did you want to say, Billy? Hold on.
I want to say, how can I hear Martin and Fletcher's music? It's on the Wolf Entertainment. One of your pages.
I'll send you the links. I'll send you the links. No problem.
Yeah. Do that, please, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, some of my stuff you might enjoy. Some of my stuff. Well, I'd be interested to see what you think of it. Honest opinions always welcome.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna tell you. Can you hear me?
Open for criticism.
Yeah, I want to hear stuff, Fletcher. I'm going to go and listen to Fletcher stuff. Billy, I know what you've done. I mean, I love the stuff you've done. So.
Yeah. But let me tell you, with me, music, the music you play, that's the way you feel. So if your guys' music is anything like the way your spirit is right here, what I'm looking at, I'm gonna love your music. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Yeah. I'll go with that. I'll buy that one. Thank you.
All right. Okay, guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Take
care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
All the best. Cheers.
Yeah, nice meeting you guys.
Okay, that's it.